Hey, what's keeping you up so late? Got something on your mind? Let's talk about it. My name is Coffee Dark and Sweet, and you are now tuned in to the Midnight Coffee Podcast. Here, have a sip. Peace. Good night, everybody. Good morning, depending on where you're from. My name is Coffee Dark and Sweet, and this is the Generational Wealth episode of Midnight Coffee. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Eric Thompson.
What up, what up, what up?
And we are going to get into it, but first I want to introduce um, Midnight Coffee as a place that we come to get fulfilled. We fill the pot, we stir the pot, we start conversations that affect positive change and get people to thinking and get people to doing. So this episode, we want people to think about and learn about doing wealth and creating wealth for generations in their family. So Eric, when you think about generational wealth, what is the picture that you get in your head?
First, I think about health, because health is wealth. And a lot of times, I think sometimes we think so much about just getting the bag that we don't even think about everything else that surrounds that. So, like, getting my health together is a part of me gaining generational wealth, I think, mentally, physically, spiritually.
That's a very good point. What is the purpose of acquiring any type of physical or financial assets if you are not healthy enough to enjoy them?
Right.
I say all the time that stress is a lot more expensive than people think it is. And the things that we are willing to go through for money are a lot of times very obscene and unworthy of the money
Facts.
that we get from them. So thank you for that point. When I think generational wealth, I think that the being strong at that point, at some point in my family line, is not a forced thing.
Right.
That is easier to be strong for them, for my children, for their children, and that the important things like health and intelligence and these kind of things are first in their life, so that they are not chasing the bag money. Essentially, they don't feel like they have to save me.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. So with that question, I want to introduce our guest, Mr. Renard Glenn. We have been acquaintances on Facebook for a while now, and I get excited about what appears to be his mission, which is, in my opinion, to create generational wealth. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, Renard, and tell us who you are and why you do what you do.
I don't even know where to start, but I'm Renard, the CEO of Clear to Close Mortgage. I've been in the banking industry for about 9 years now. Just recently started my own business, probably like a year ago. But I would say mostly my niche, I would say, is more so people who have been denied, mostly people who look like us, to the point where they're getting denied from other companies to where they can't necessarily qualify because of certain things. But in this line of work, people really don't try to help you, really. Like they say, like, oh, your credit score is under 620. See you when your score's up. But, like, I'm really trying to come up with a system to be able to help them, saying, okay, you don't qualify. This is why you don't qualify. This is what we need to do to get you to qualify. Sometimes that can, like, happen, like, within a week, within 14 days or so, to where I can get someone from not qualifying to qualifying. But it really all depends on the overall profile. But it's not as hard as people make it seem to like actually acquire a house. Like, some of the people who I mostly talk to, people who never thought about owning a home, people who rented all their lives. Like, they come from generations of people who renting,
Right.
So it's kind of cool to be able to break the barrier and help them accomplish something that can be passed down, like you said. So yeah, that's why I do what I do.
Very, very, very dope. I can tell just from if you follow him on Instagram or Facebook, I can tell through the things that you post, and it's very obvious like how your business is set up, that's your goal. It's very apparent that you care about connecting people to sustainable real estate.
Yep.
And it is something that everybody can do. Eric and I was just saying in the car, like when you it sound easier said than done, but when you actually get to doing it, it's not as hard either. It is as easy as it sounds.
Yeah, you just gotta know what you're looking for. You know,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I feel like it's not enough people who put themselves out there who really like care. You know, to the point where it's like, okay, I might want this more for you than you want it for yourself. It's been a couple situations where people like, you know, I'm gonna back out, or I really don't want to do this. I don't think I can do this, and it's like, well, what are you gonna do? You know, like that's something I used to tell myself all the time when I first started. Was I quit? I was like, I quit. And then after I say it, I'm like, now what? You know, like, oh, okay, let's get back to work. You know, like, so when people tell me that they want to back out of buying a house, it's like, okay, now what?
Right.
You gonna rent?
Yeah.
You know, you gonna literally spend the same amount of money or more renting than you would owning a home. So if you want to quit now, let me know that you want to quit so I can stop doing what I'm doing.
Right.
You know, and you know, I think people really need that, because a lot of people, they get intimidated when it comes to buying a house. But like I said before, it doesn't have to be as hard as that. You know, you just have to have a few things to look for. Like within the first 5 minutes of a phone call, I can tell if somebody's gonna qualify or not, or like where we're gonna have a problem or not, just because I know what to look for. You know? So yeah, it's a lot easier than it seems, for sure.
It's good that you got like strategy in place too, because that'll make people want to quit too, especially trying to do it on your own.
Yep. Yeah, and I would say that's the hardest part, the growing pains part of doing all of this and having the demand for it, and then trying to basically give my own personal clear to close Renard Glenn touch on every single loan, and it's just me.
Right.
You know, so I'm in the process of figuring out different ways that we can go about hiring people and stuff like that, but with every single loan I do, I usually have like 4 or 5 solutions just in case something don't work, you know? And I think at the tail end of things, that's what really separates me from a lot of other people, because it's like I've been almost on every side of the closing table as possible, towards like I don't want this loan to die out.
Right.
So I got like A, B, C, D, all of this planned out just in case. You know, it's even to the point where I tell clients like, hey, you should start working on this documentation right now, because they might ask for it. If they don't ask for it, great. If they do, we already got it, you know? So
you hold in their hand. You guiding them through a process, which is not, like you said, when it comes to like, it don't really matter what you do as an adult, even in college or raising children, whatever it is that you got to do, everybody is like, well, this is the predicament you in now. Get through it. Especially when it comes from a business standpoint. And it is intimidating because these numbers and these legalities are a different language than we all speak.
To a lot of people. I recently had a client who like it's I don't want to say it's funny, but it's like some clients literally like they focus on all of the problems but none of the solutions. You know, like I had a lady literally break down, and she was like, I just can't do it. I'm a single mom, and my child's father left, and it's not fair. My credit score dropped 50 points. I'm like, okay, do you want to continue talking about the bad, or you want to start talking about the good? You know, so it gets to the point to where I think that people have this mindset that buying has to be hard. Like even when it doesn't even look hard, they're like, I have to make it harder than what it is.
Can't be that simple.
Right.
Can't be that simple. It's too good to be true, sort of thing.
It's overwhelming, but like at the same time, it's like it could be done, you know, like
everything is kind of overwhelming when you think about it. Everything really has the potential to be overwhelming. Our jobs, our children.
Yeah, but mindset is everything.
The lack of knowledge too makes stuff overwhelming. When you don't know what you're doing, it's like, where the hell am I gonna go with this?
So that comes to trusting the person who's leading you, right? So like I try to explain everything in pieces so they understand it. Because I feel like you're right. Like not knowing what you don't know is overwhelming. But like when you like working with somebody who's like, I've done this before. Right. It's gonna be like this. It might be easy. It might be hard. But either way, we'll get to the bottom of it. You know. Right. So I feel like the relationship that I build with clients through the process allows them to not feel that pressure so much until we get to the tail end.
Right.
Like this week has been like a crazy week. I had like 12 closings scheduled, and mind you, 12 closings is 24 realtors. 24 realtors, 12 clients, 24 different title companies, all calling me because we're close to the end.
Right.
And I would say that's probably where like things get like really like hectic because it's like it's only me.
Yeah.
You know, and with me talking to all of these people, I really can't cater to the people who are trying to get into process or the people who just started the process or looking to get approved or need credit repair. So like, you know, like it all comes down to like, I guess like organizing everything because everybody, they'll be cool the whole step of the way until like they get to the point where they're like, okay, are we clear to close?
Right.
Are we clear to close? Are we clear to close? Clear to close? I heard clear to close so much last week. I almost changed the name of my company to almost closed. You know, like we almost closed. You know, because it's just a lot. And I feel like people get to the end and they feel like they really really want it, and that's where all of these questions come about. Like I had clients asking me about. Land contract when we 3 days away from closing. Like, why what are you?
It's too late for that.
Right. Like, hey, look, if you want to talk about something, call me on Monday, not during the weekend.
Right.
You know, like, it's just a lot. But I'm with you though, because majority of generational wealth does start with real estate. It like it starts with real estate. It doesn't necessarily stop with real estate, but it all starts with real estate because when you figure out how you can leverage the equity in your home to make other investments, right? Like I talk about this story all the time. I bought my house in 2018. Bought my house for $270. When we did the original appraisal, it came in at like 1.2 million. Wow. Right? Out in Southfield, 6,500 square feet. I was able to leverage the equity in my house to make other investments. And I feel like that's partially how generational wealth is started, just by taking a risk, right? Obviously taking a risk, but I feel like generational wealth is more so taking what you got and creating more options so people behind you don't have to go to college. You know, like I say this all the time. If I can go back over again, I probably wouldn't have went to college. You know, just because when you think about you getting $90,000 to $100,000 in debt and then not even using it, you know, like not even using it. Like they got artificial intelligence doing so much stuff. That is like,
and majority of that stuff is what you go to college to do,
and they're cutting jobs.
Yeah, left and right. It's really crazy, and it's frightening because a lot of what you describe and the customers that you deal with, the clients that you deal with, is these are things that are holding our demographic back in general.
Mostly
right?
student loans.
Yeah.
So
and Comcast
student loans, but also you talked about people having a defeatist
attitude.
Oh yeah.
Or they get really close to something that they want and feel like all of a sudden they don't deserve it or can't have it or try to self-sabotage it.
Yep.
And then you talked about how you are trying to lead people through an experience, but you dealing with people who have been traumatized by their leaders. So it's like so I comment and I say stuff like, oh, you're doing God's work. But when you on a spiritual journey or any kind of journey to get into a new ground, you know, for yourself and becoming something else, you need, and that's something that God does, you know, take your hand and hold it and like hold your hand through the process, because you don't have no idea what you're doing. So it's very commendable that you even want to put yourself in a position where you are being stretched even as thin as you are, which is not healthy. Please get some employees.
Right.
I didn't do anything the entire weekend. Like I literally just slept the entire weekend away. Like it's people calling me like, hey Renard, we need an updated approval. I'm like, hey, look, Monday. You know, but
healthy boundaries.
That mindset, it doesn't start at purchasing, it starts at childhood.
Yes.
You know, like it starts at childhood. Like just being in a mindset that you feel like you can't do something, or because you see somebody else do it on Instagram or Facebook that you feel like you can't do it, or like they put in so much work. Obviously, people put in work to do stuff, but you know, obviously, I tell myself this all the time. I never say just something I can't do.
Right.
First thing I say is I know I can do it. Even if I can't figure it out right now, it's like I know I can do it. I'm gonna take a step away and I'm gonna figure it out and then come back to it.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people just defeat it, you know, like, and I don't know where it comes from, but it comes from childhood though.
No, it comes from, it's actually, and I know you know where it come from too, but it's actually like a programmed. It's programmed conditioning,
Sure.
and it come from trauma that's passed through in our DNA, from slavery, from it's deep. It's not, and it's not natural to us either.
Right.
So it's a degenerative conditioning that happens every time, you know, you go to work and do your best, and you work your ass off and still can't pay your bills, you know, or you whatever conditions it is that you have naturally are putting you at a position of a disadvantage continually. Like your skin color. Sure. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to not feel defeated when you Black in America. It just is hard, you know. And that's a way that they are able to perpetuate things like generational curses instead of generational blessings. Because, like you said, we got generations of people watching their mama rent and dying in the street for the blocks that they parents is renting on. Though nobody own nothing. You know what I'm saying? And this is a conditioned mindset.
A false sense of entitlement.
Yeah,
false sense of entitlement. And as I said before, it all comes back to what you're exposed to at an earlier age. Like I went to Renaissance. I have a twin brother. He went to Cranbrook. So he was learning things that we wasn't learning. So my mom would make us like sit down and talk about what we learned throughout the week, just so it wasn't no gap there.
That's
you know.
Smart. Yeah.
But he was around, like, obviously I went to DPS. I was around Black people. You know what I'm saying? He was around Indians, Asians, Korean, like all of that. You know, so they exposed to different things. Like, and I like to think of mortgages very similar to math. And I say this analogy a lot to people. It's more than one way to get where you need to go. Right. You know, and that's what I love about math. You can, you know, slice the time in half on solving the equation just because you've seen somebody else do something a different way. Yeah. And I tell them, like, it's a lot of different ways we could do it. Like, okay, you got student loans. Okay, at approval, I'm like, I need you to get on a payment plan and make one payment before we get to closing. Right. So you could do it now or you could do it later, but I prefer you do it now. You know, so when I see certain things, I'm like, okay, all right, this is what's holding you back. Take Comcast, they modems back. You know what I'm saying? So you can get, you know, your credit back up. And it's so crazy because, like, overlooking through 500 credit reports in a week or 2 weeks, you start to see the same trend. And like after seeing so many credit reports, you start to see the patterns. Like, okay, like most people don't even know that this medical bill is on the credit report. And this is what's literally keeping them from purchasing. So, all right, we need to get that off, you know? So it's just a system where I didn't want to deny people. I wanted to be able to help. And that's why I started doing credit repair. Right. So it's like after seeing so many things, it's like, okay, you don't qualify right now, but give me 60 days and we can get you together. So start saving your money and start doing these things and things like that. But like I said before, seeing it over and over and over and over and over again, it's literally everybody has the same exact story. And like I try to be as coachable as possible to people, because as you said, they don't know what they don't know. And like everybody literally had the same thing going on. When you looking at people's bank statements, credit reports, I know their whole life story. I don't even have to know them. And I could tell that they like to order Uber Eats on Fridays, you know, like, so everybody literally had the same exact story. It's just like sometimes getting people over that hump is like, okay, look, this is what you need to do for 30 days. And like one person was doing credit repair with somebody else during process, and it jacked up the entire process. So it's like you gotta know what you're looking for. You gotta know what you're looking for, and I know that the things that we're doing aren't easy, because like what we're doing now, buying properties and everything like that. Like if you bought a house 5-10 years ago, you probably would have had like a 2% interest rate, 2.3% interest rate. Rates are in the 7s right now.
Damn, really?
Rates are in the 7s right now, you know? And people who qualify for $300,000 houses qualify for like $100,000, $150,000, just because the values of the home are going up over time. Right. So when you think about it, stuff like that, like now it's never a right or wrong time to buy a house, because homes appreciate. But like I feel like everybody waited to the point where they waited because they thought that rates are going to be the same forever. They thought that, you know, that they can better prepare themselves a year from now. But now is the time, right? You know, because like I had a client who qualified for like $150,000. Went through the process again a year later, he only qualified for $70,000. right? Can you imagine the house difference from 150 to 70,000?
That's crazy.
And the house that we originally had him in the process was newly remodeled. Now the house that he's in now requires repairs. Not saying that's a bad thing, because he'll still have home ownership, but he just won't have the same start that he had a year ago. So it's a lot of things that goes into purchasing. Mostly it's just mindset. And I tell people that from the get-go. I like to wake up vibrating high. Right. You know what I'm saying? I like to wake up, take a deep breath, and say everything that I do today, I'm going to finish it. Right. But you have a lot of different things that go and hit you throughout the day. And mostly I would say people's attitudes, people's negative self-talk, Man. People saying, oh, you need this document again, or I got to do Yes. What we're doing now is something that's going to help you generations from now, It all starts with one property.
Right.
Everything starts with one property. Some people buy a single family home, some people buy a duplex.
Right.
But everything starts from one property. And people, I would say they do know this, but most of the people who I do get to buy a home, they usually buy single family homes, and that's okay. But more people need to start buying duplexes, 3 units, 4 units. Okay, that's where the money's coming from.
Before you get into that, because I really want to flesh that part out. I want to get into the reason why this whole episode happened. So I had a dream that I was in the neighborhood that I'm in now, and the homes were the color of the Monopoly buildings on the game Monopoly, the board game. And they were red or green, and they were mostly red. Like if you could look at the city or the block from the sky, it will be mostly red. And every time in this dream, every time a black family or a black person bought a home, it turned green. So the next day, I was like, well, we obviously got to talk about this. How I interpreted that was, God showing me what it really means to increase your territory. Right. And I say all the time, I've been saying it for years now, that it's still the wild, wild west essentially, and the world can still be mapped. The more of your people or people who look like you or your blood relatives, however many of them you can get as close to you as possible, especially in ownership, it then naturally becomes a community. Right. And when you own the homes that you're in, you get to protect them in different ways that you can't protect yourself from if you renting. You don't have the same rights you don't have any rights to the actual land that you're on when you're renting. And I feel like if push came to shove, and let's say all hell broke loose and it was another war or something, the owners of the home you rent can come in and either put you out or seize or move in with you legally, and it's really nothing you can do about it because they own that land. And it's different rules when we haven't really seen wars like how they really used to be. You know what I'm saying? And soldiers and stuff used to just come and run up in your house and be there for weeks and this kind of thing. We still live in that same world, and we can not only build generational wealth but reclaim our land. Literally reclaiming the land is the reason why. Real estate is called real estate. It's the only thing that's worth really buying because you can grow, you can feed yourself, you can, the limits and possibilities are endless outside of just the financial legalities to it that you can take advantage of right now as far as financial wealth. With that, I want you to get back into taking the equity out of your home and using it to, you talked about duplexes and but also commercial real estate like restaurants and hotels or whatever it is that you can possibly get your hands on as far as owning the land.
How did you learn about that though?
About
the equity thing, because I've heard a lot of conversations about it, but it's where I just hear it on the internet, you know what I'm saying?
So, working for the first mortgage company, I don't know if I can say the name, but working for them, we learned a lot. Like when I first started, I didn't know anything about mortgages. Mm-hmm. I was fresh out of college. I was working for my dad's construction company.
Okay.
I went out with a group of friends from high school, and they were all buying bottles, and they were like, it was time for me to buy a bottle, and I'm thinking like how much is the bottles?
Right, right.
How much is the bottle? So my boy pulled me aside, and he's like, Renard, you should do mortgages. You're great with people. You know how to talk to people and things like that. So I'm like, okay, cool. We'll try it out. Went, and they hired me on the spot. They hired. I had to go like 2-3 interviews, but the third interview they hired me on the spot.
Right.
So from there, learning about equity, I was doing refinances.
Okay.
So basically, that's where you basically give your mortgage an oil change, basically. So it's like, okay, you either doing one of three things. You either taking cash out in equity, you either refinancing to shorten your term to pay it off faster, or you lowering your monthly payment by stretching it out. Okay. Those are the only three options that they were giving us. So it was like, we got to figure this out, right? So you find out how much equity you have, basically seeing how much you owe versus how much the home is worth, right? So when you're taking cash out, you're going to take out like 80% of the value. So, yeah, like you can only take out 80% of the value. So I would say the hardest part about breaking out of the rat race, because that's what they call it, the rat race, where you go into work every day and doing everything. It starts with buying a house, right? Just because you only make so much money in a year, but if you buy a house and you have the equity working for you and going up, you're making more money over here, right? Then when you can figure out things like where you could take risk within the mortgage, take out money. I would say the hardest part about starting a business is funding. Yeah. It's funding. You know, like you can't go into a bank and get whatever you want if your credit is where it is. Right. But when you have a home, you have some type of wealth, right? You can do, it's so many different ways you could pull money out of the house. Like you could do a hard money loan for 6 months. Right. I recently took out $60,000 to like branch out my business. You know? So like it's so many different ways that you can do it. But I would say the hardest part is getting started. Right. So like most people don't know that you can leverage the equity in your home to like pull out $20,000-$30,000. You can renovate the house to increase the value. I've seen people pay off everything on their credit to get themselves a fresh start. Right. You know, these are things that we don't talk about. Like I learned something about leveraging my retirement accounts, 401k, and roll it over to 401k to an IRA, and then boosting your contributions up to 50% first part of the year, and then lowering it. Right. Like we don't have enough conversations like this. Right. And that's why it's a lot of people behind. And you could wake up any day and be fired from your job and not know where to go from there. Yeah. That's because we're in a rat race. We are constantly waking up and going to work and then falling asleep and doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. Yeah.
And knowing is half the battle.
Knowing is half the battle for sure.
A lot of people that know better and can't they body on autopilot. They can't get themselves to function in their knowledge.
For sure. I have like plenty of stories. Like it's been stories to where I would work all day, and at the end of the day, like we were on like this 11 a.m. to midnight shift when I was working at the first company. Man. And like I was falling asleep driving home. Damn. Got all the way home, turned the shower on, hopped in the shower with a full suit on. That's how zombie mode I was in, you know? Yeah. And it's like I can't keep doing it like this, and that's partially some of the reason why I started my own business, because like I get to set my own schedule, right? You know, right. But if it wasn't for me taking the risk on myself, I think that's where a lot of people had hiccups to where they don't know where to take risks. Yeah. You know, but obviously I tell people all the time, like people is renting, and I tell them like take equity out of your apartment. Right. You know, and I learned something recently that even though you own the home, you never really actually own the land.
Right, exactly. You stop paying the property taxes. It's a wrap.
You never
you still
you never own the land. And then like when you buying like homes and stuff, when you buy a condo, condos don't appreciate like homes, like single family homes, because you own walls in. So everything in the walls is what you own. Anything outside of that, you don't own. Wow. Yeah. So like and that's so crazy that I was reading something else again that we actually don't even own the money that we have.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's crazy, because I was looking up something where it was talking about like burning money. You know, it's illegal to burn money. Yeah. Even though you work hard, sweat, die over it, you don't own it. Just thinking about stuff like that, it's like, wow, like we living in the matrix. Yeah. We live in a matrix where we don't even know. Well, let's just say we think about stuff only within our scope.
Right.
And not outside the box.
Right.
Because like when you're thinking like, okay, I don't own the money. I don't own the land. Okay, so everything's leased to an extent. It's just that you have a better leasing contract than when you're renting.
Right.
Because you can control basically everything like within a certain capacity.
Right.
Because you only control so much, you know.
Right.
But if you buying a 4-unit property, living in one, renting out 3, and they paying for the mortgage, a year later you buy another one and you buy another one. Before you know it, you making $20,000 just breathing.
And all your kids got a place to stay when they. Period.
Eventually,
yeah.
Because obviously you want to keep the money coming in, but
Right.
But I mean, I didn't say for free.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
for sure. Like I've it was a guy on the east side. I don't know where exactly at, but he bought like a house, and then did y'all see it? He's like a gated community.
Castle,
He got, like,
it's like a castle. Yes, I've seen that.
Like
it's
stuff like
crazy.
that. It's crazy.
Yeah,
That's what people
yeah.
should be doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what people should be doing. But like people don't know how to get there.
Right.
People don't know how to get there, and I feel like that's where I come into play because I can help people kind of paint the picture of where they're looking to go. That's why I always tell people like, hey, what are you looking to do? And then we can go from there. What are you looking to do? And then we can structure everything so it can look exactly how you want it to look.
Right. I got a question. Are you familiar with like the Detroit Land Bank and stuff like that?
Yeah, so, to a capacity.
Okay.
I like it's certain things I deal with, certain things I don't deal with.
Okay.
Dealing with land bank, obviously, like it's a good way to go if you're looking to buy some properties, fix them up, rent them out, put some equity out, things like that. But when it comes to like on the buying side, because I only deal with strictly purchasing or refinancing with mortgages. Like I don't really deal with investment properties. I really don't deal with the fix and flips. Okay. If people want to do them, I can do them. Right. But it's outside of my scope. Okay. So I feel like with what I'm doing, I want to focus on what I'm really good at. Right. And then if it comes to opportunity where I could work on other things where I'm not as good at and I can strengthen that, perfectly fine. But I'd rather just work on the bread and butter.
Focusing on your strengths.
Right, yeah, right, the bread and butter. But like sense. Land bank, I actually had a story where I bought a property from Land Bank, and then we got all the way to the closing table and couldn't close because I needed $1,000. Oh yeah. Right now, when you talk about generational wealth, I need $1,000 to close on this house. Right. Reached out to my entire family. Nobody. I don't think it was that they didn't have it. They didn't want to give it to you. I think that they just didn't believe in it. You know. And I feel like that's part of that negative mindset that we're talking about. You know, like and it wasn't until I bought my first house that my dad set us aside and was like, I really feel like we finally made it. You know, and I'm like we grew up in an 800 square foot house. You know, to go from that to like a 6,500 square foot house is like. I feel like we finally made it. And then my mom told me that she felt like I was the kid to spearhead, like, basically this whole new realm that we're in. Like, as far as, like, opening up the mindsets and taking risks. Because I'm all about risk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could have $100 and I'm risking $99.50. All I need is 50 cents. Because I know that if all I have is 50 cents today, I could go a couple of days without eating. Yeah. You know, I can go a couple of days without. Scared of being broke. Yeah, everybody's so scared of being broke. And that's the problem with a lot of people is they haven't been knocked down enough to the point where they know what it's like to eat ramen noodles for a week. You know, or like what I used to eat when I first started working, I used to eat rice and tuna packets. Wow. You know, or like just a scoop of peanut butter out the jar. You know, like most people haven't been there to the point where it's gonna be okay. You know, because my saying is it can't rain every day. Right. You know, it can't rain every day. It's a season for raining. Right. But it can't rain every day. It's gonna be hot as hell tomorrow. You know. So and I feel like a lot of people just haven't been there. Like I've been to the point where I couldn't pay bills. Right. You know, so it's like, and it's funny because when I was, because I don't drive anymore, I got into a car accident. But when I was driving, I used to put my debit card in the gas pump, and then lock my card. And then when you lock your car, this is funny because when you lock your car and then pump the gas and everything like that, they won't pull that money out for 48 hours. Most people don't know that, but I've been there, you know? So it's like it's hard for people to come to me with a story or something that I haven't seen before, you know? Yeah. But I feel like a lot of people just scared of taking risk. And like home ownership obviously is a risk because at the end of the day you own it, but you can miss 2 or 3 mortgage payments that affect your credit score.
Right.
You can miss rent 2 or 3 months and you get evicted.
Yeah.
It's a total difference. It's a peace of mind.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of people who rent, and I just want to say nothing is wrong with renting.
Right.
We have to fuel the economy somehow. You gotta have buyers and you gotta have sellers. You gotta have renters and you gotta have owners. Just how life goes.
Right.
You know? But like I just feel like a lot of people don't know the capabilities that they have or the perks that they have when it comes to owning a home. Just because you could do anything.
Right.
You could be slow this month and you could rent out some rooms in your house.
Yeah.
You could Airbnb it. Like I had clients who said, I really don't know what I'm gonna do, and I'm like, okay, well, why don't you consider Airbnb or taking your family out for the weekend and Airbnb it 2 times out of the month for the weekend.
Pay for your vacation or whatever.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? But you can't really. I mean, yes, you could do it with an apartment. You could, truthfully, you could.
Right.
But it's not the same.
Right.
It's not the same.
No.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Do y'all own?
No.
Why
but
not?
I know. It's not where I'm at in my process right now. I'm navigating self to a very extreme point, but it is something that I'm looking to do in the very near future, but not right now. I'm still navigating self. I have some.
Y'all better come to Clear to Close Mortgage when y'all looking to get a mortgage, right?
Yeah, I don't own either, but I'm working on that eventually. I'm still trying to get like my financial thing going right.
Yeah. I mean, and it's as I said before, it's never a wrong time, never a right time. Like my older brother used to say back when we were trading crypto, you'll never sell something at its highest and never sell it at its lowest. Right. So if you're gonna do it, you might
like get in when you get in.
Yeah. Like I don't think it's ever gonna be a wrong time. I think the only thing that's just gonna happen over time is just gonna get more expensive.
Right.
And with things getting more expensive and them not increasing pay.
Right.
Like that's what's holding a lot of people back is the house values are going up, but people aren't making more money.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole great thing about entrepreneurship is you wake up every day and you can decide I want to raise today.
Yeah.
Okay, well I'm going to do the work.
Got to do something about it.
I'm going to do the work. Yeah. And they have they have a lot of different loans. Like I'm rolling out a 40-year fixed mortgage probably next month, where you got to have a 660 credit score. Obviously, you got to put down a little money, but like people who buying homes 40 years, 10 years interest only, the payment ain't really going to be nothing for real, because it's over 40 years and you're only paying interest for the first 10. So, I mean, and they have a lot of different programs for entrepreneurs, bank statement loans where you don't even really have to worry about like anything really. Like I've seen some loans go through where they don't even really worry about credit score.
Right, really?
So it's a lot of things that you can do when it comes to mortgage.
Okay.
A lot of things. I
was gonna say too, like I hear all the time about people getting evicted, right? You hear all the time about people getting evicted from like apartments, but everybody that I know who owns a house still owns the house. Like everybody that I know that is, I hear a lot less about foreclosures than I do about evictions. Yeah. Like all the black people who I know who own houses have owned these houses for 10, 15, 20 years and they still in them.
Yeah. So one, partially I would say some of it's probably because the owning a house sometimes is cheaper than renting. Right. One. But people don't go around broadcasting like
that they got their house too.
Yeah, I got foreclosed on.
I'm talking about personally.
Facts.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, like that's not a conversation you have at the dinner table. Right. Like, what happened to the house? Oh yeah, I sold it. You know, like that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, because I know some people that lost.
But I mean, they still in them.
But it's so many different ways that you can save it from there. Because most people don't know this, but even after you foreclose, even after go through the auction and everything like that, you still have a redemption period of like 6 months, I believe, to like come up with it. Most people don't know that because the people who buy the houses, they go to the auction, buy the houses, and they immediately come to you to get you out.
Right.
Like you don't even have time to think about your options, but you have a redemption period like 6 months to
so
where
they can't just kick you out.
No.
Okay.
No, it's a redemption period for sure, and most people don't know that either because they like, like that's that defeated mentality where they're like, it's gone, I lost it. What's next? I need to figure out what's next. But it's a lot of people. It's actually loan options out here where if your home is in foreclosure, that it's people willing to give you money to save your house so you don't lose it.
There are a lot of programs. That's what I mean. It's a lot of them too, and I know a lot of people who use them.
Well, I need information on that.
Yeah.
There's people that need ASAP.
Yeah.
Shy wanted to ask
Yeah,
a question.
I got a quick question for you. When you asked them about, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
On the
Yeah.
thing? Okay. When you asked them, had they ever bought a house before, or do they own a home? What do you say? What's your advice on, like, for me, for example, I don't own a home yet.
Right.
I wasn't going to until I got married,
Right.
for whatever reasons.
Right.
I'm changing my mind on that just so I can give my daughter, something, pass on her something
Right.
eventually.
Right.
But what do you say, like, all right, if you know your credit ain't together, like, what's the first things to tackle? While I'm in the process of thinking about it. And
First thing to tackle, one, print out your credit report. Like it's as simple as that. Print out your credit report, see what's on there that's accurate and not inaccurate. And most people have like 4 or 5 different variations on their credit report. It'll be your first name, last name, first name, middle name, last name. Get all of that off. Get all of that off your credit report. Then get all of the collections and stuff off. And then you have a base for everything. So minimum score you need, absolute minimum score you need is a 500 credit score to buy a house. Obviously, you're going to have some money.
Right.
Because you're going to have to put down 10%, But if you can get at least to a 600, you can get up to 5% down payment assistance.
okay, lastly, how do you feel about Chapter 7 bankruptcy?
Do it. Do it.
Oh shit.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Then come to me to get it off. That's it. Because it's illegal for them to even report a bankruptcy on your credit report.
Oh, straight up.
Oh,
really?
The courts that you go to, child support, they don't report to the credit bureaus. They don't report to the credit bureos. That's how you can get that off.
I'm accurate on child support. Huh?
You know what I'm saying? Like anything that you, like I said before earlier, I would say it's more than one way to get to where you need to go.
Right.
Right. So if you have to file bankruptcy to get all of those negative things off the credit report, do it.
Right.
Do it, and then challenge it, because at the end of the day, credit bureaus, they verify information based on what somebody else said.
Yeah.
But how can you verify some information when the courts ain't talking to you?
Third party. Yeah.
That don't make sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I'm with it. You can definitely do bankruptcy. I don't have any bad energy towards bankruptcy. You got to do what you got to do. I would say after you do the whole credit thing, next step is to start saving money.
Right.
Start saving money. It's people. You probably don't know this, but I have a client who had like a hefty savings. She owns like a text business or anything like that. She went to pay people's back taxes on their homes, and they quit claim deeded to you. They quit claim deed you the home.
Wow.
So like literally, you can own a home like that sometimes for like $5,000,
Right.
and then sell it for $50,000 and use that for a down payment. Well, obviously, you want to have a heart. You want to pay the back taxes and then give them an opportunity
Right.
to pay you back.
Right.
And if they can't pay you back, okay,
It's
well,
yours.
now you're renting from me.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're renting from me. If you don't want to rent from me, okay, you got to be out within 60 days, 30
Right.
days. So it's owning a home don't even have to be that bad. You could buy like a plot of land and get a tiny home, build
Right.
a tiny home on there for
Right.
like $4,000. And I think you can get those from Home Depot and pay like $200 a month.
Yeah.
So like,
Wow.
it don't have to be as hard as you think it is, just because I feel like people have unrealistic expectations. I have people who looking for $500,000 houses with a $100,000 budget, and they don't want to buy because they can't buy the
What they want, they
$500,000
dream.
house.
This stuff you seen on TV.
Right,
you
but
ain't even had this before.
When you think about it, it's steps to everything.
Right.
I'd rather have 4 or 5 $100,000 houses
Yeah.
than one big house.
Right.
Just because I know that the first house and that's what people got to tell themselves, the first house that they buy,
It's not their dream house.
it's not going to be their end game
Right.
home.
It's not forever.
It's
It's not the dream.
It's not going to be the final home. But if you get like 4 or 5 of those, you can afford to buy the $500,000 house, and while you doing other things and other people paying that mortgage. So it's not hard at all. It's not hard at all, and I'll probably say that probably until like the end of the podcast, probably to the end of the week. It's not as hard as you think it is.
It's not hard at all.
It's not as hard as you think it is. Just because credit is just half the battle.
Right.
We look at income, assets, and credit. Right. You got to have some type of compensating factor. Most people don't have, which is kind of weird to me. Most people don't have 401ks.
Yeah.
Most people don't have life insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are conversations we need to have. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yes.
like most people don't, like you work 10 years at a job and not have a 401k.
Right.
That should be like priority number one,
Yeah.
because most
like
companies, they match your 401k.
Right.
So if you maxing your 401k out $18,000 per year, that's $18,000 that you're getting for free, basically.
Right.
Over years, 10 years, that's $180,000.
Yep.
Yeah, $180,000. You know, so like, and then you could use that for down payment. You could use that, pull that out for hardship to buy a home.
Right.
You know, so like, it's a lot of different ways that you can go about it. Like I tell people this as well. Like, easiest way to get a 40-point boost on your credit is to go to Rent Reporters, rentreporters.com, and they'll basically put 5 years of good payment history on your credit report just from renting.
Oh wow.
And that payment history will boost your credit score up like 40, 50, 70 points. You know, most people don't know that.
Right.
I usually tell people that if you can't verify rent, if you can't verify your rent, because most people pay in cash.
Right.
Most people pay rent in cash. We living in 2023. No reason why you should be paying anything in cash. You need a paper trail. That's another thing that killed deals. Not having a paper trail.
Right.
Or like people, I understand why people don't like to keep their money in banks, because Apple Pay is coming out regardless. You know, most people don't like keeping their money in banks, but you have to have your money in banks. You have to, in order to show like a paper trail.
Yeah.
You have to. Like it's certain things you don't want. It's certain things that you can't get around.
Right.
And most of the people I deal with, they're normally older people who are stuck in their ways, and I don't want to keep my money in banks, or why do you need to see my bank statements for 60 days? And it's like, look, I don't
It's
care.
private though. Bank statement is a very,
you know,
like
like
you said, you busting people open.
Because it's like you get to know my life after you see
right,
it.
like you
That's-
think I care about your OnlyFans subscriptions? You know, like, I don't care about that. You know, I'm trying to help you get a house.
Right. Right.
But you know, like people be stuck in their ways, and half the battle of owning a house is getting out of your own way.
Yeah.
That's it.
I feel like that's half the battle with everything.
I was about to say life in
Yeah.
general.
Getting out of your own way.
Man.
Yeah,
Getting
'cause
out of your way.
a lot of this is like I said, conditioned behavior, but it's also like okay, it's not like you said, it's not that hard. So I was just doing the math. It's 52 weeks in a year. Take $192 a week to save $10,000. $10,000 is a down payment, or it could be used towards a down payment for a mortgage, right? Simple.
And then half of that, half the time, you don't even need that.
Mm.
Just because like it's so many down payment assistance programs out here. I've had it before where clients either come with no money to close in, or like $3,000 to $4,000 most out of pocket. So like I usually tell clients like, hey, it's good to have $6,000 saved up,
Right.
you know, just as a safety net. But most of the time, you don't even need it. You don't even need it. So
This is some good information.
Definitely.
Very glad that all of this led to you being here. This is the kind of these, like I said, Midnight Coffee is for the topics and things that keep me up at night. You know, that the generational wealth is a big one for me. I noticed in a lot of what you're saying, which is something that is crazy, because life is poetry, and almost everything you brought up are things that I like identifying and like trying to nullify, like in myself, as far as, you know, self-doubt and degenerative conditioning and these kind of things, because I realized like my relationship with money is, I'm a hustler. I'm from Detroit. That's, you know what I'm saying, it's sporadic. And it's either sporadic or it's workaholic, which is still sporadic. Like you said, you're
Right.
falling asleep or driving and all this extra shit, risking your life and to be frustrated at the end of the month with not enough money to do shit you want to do.
Right.
It's like I realized like not my money is sporadic because my energy is also sporadic, and it pop then fizzle out just like the
I'm the
money
same
do.
way.
You know, yep. And so my thoughts also do this.
Right.
You know, so I feel like it can't be only me. like you said, you also do the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's I feel like it's more so like a cultural thing, especially being city people. Everything is fast. Everything is on your toes. They tell us they gonna give us $20 an hour. We don't stop to think about life insurance and 401ks. You know what I'm saying? We got chili cheese fries to buy.
Yeah, you spending the 20 before you get it.
Yeah.
Knowing it's not even 20 at the end of the
Right.
day.
It's not ever 20. You gotta. It don't matter.
Man.
People are like, oh, $1,000 a week is not enough. Excuse me. Fuck no. Like.
Right.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. But most people, from what I see, most people make about $30,000 to $50,000 a year.
Right.
Like, and when I think about it, it's like, wow, like $30,000 to $50,000 a year. Like when you look at it, it's really not it's not no
Right,
money.
right.
It's enough to buy a house, but
But you can get by.
Yeah.
You can get by.
Yeah, but and all that falls under like living within your means.
Yeah, that
And
part.
I think a
That
lot
part,
of people
yeah.
don't live within their means. They wanna wear the Balenciagas and they wanna drive a nice car. Like it be people with like a 550 credit score with an automobile loan for $1,200 a month.
It's crazy.
And it's like, I can't help you.
It's on
Priorities.
them and it's on the people. Because these systems not set up for us necessarily, especially the financial systems. You know, and they already predatory. So if you desperate, they gon' come at you.
Yeah, but it comes a point in time where we have to stop
Pointing the
using
finger.
that as an
Yeah,
excuse.
Yeah.
It worked both ways.
You know,
though.
because it's like you could do anything that you want to do, right? Regardless of what systems are in place or
Right.
anything like that. Because like, if you don't have good personal credit, why don't you have good business credit?
Yeah.
You can go further with business credit than you can go with personal credit.
Right.
And they don't even have to know what you look like. You know, so it's like we could continue saying like the system isn't for us and you know like it's holding us back or we could do something about it. You know, or we could do something about it to the point where we are coming up with other solutions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rather than just having it just like that. Because if you have your personal credit that's good and business credit that's good, you can go in the bank and get a $50,000 loan tomorrow.
Right.
No docs.
That's crazy.
50,000, you know, but like I said before, it's a lot that's going on that people don't know.
Yeah.
And they allow that to be their narrative that I was born on the east side.
Yeah.
I was born on the east side. I'll probably die on the east side. You know, like it don't have to be like that.
Yeah.
No, it definitely
Yeah.
don't.
Like I said, it all comes down to sacrificing, live within your means, and doing it. Like I've had people who cut back going out on Saturday nights, Friday nights to like fix their credit.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not gonna be
possible.
it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy, but it's gonna be worth it.
It's like if you keep doing the same thing though, you're gonna keep getting the same results. So you gotta switch something
For
up,
sure.
Like you
And
said.
it make you. What I was pretty much saying is it makes you a target
Yeah, for
for
sure.
predators,
Yeah.
for a system.
I
that's
feel like on
predatory.
that level though, not to say it's your fault, but at the end of the day, if you keep getting got down on, it's like
It
at one
is.
point it's like, damn,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to switch something up
Right.
You
because
gotta do something.
if I keep
different.
smacking you upside your head, you gonna have to at least turn and look.
Yeah, or
Like,
duck.
Get smacked. Yeah, duck,
Or
right,
duck.
for real.
Yeah, and a lot of people like we were saying, Shane. A lot of people they don't want to buy a house until they get married, which is I would say the number one thing that I get from black males, or I'll just say males in general, but like single women are out here buying houses regardless if they got a man or not.
Right.
You know, foundation starts with you,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
I feel like it makes sense to get a house and then eventually get married, you know, because you could pull out equity to pay for a wedding. You could
Right.
pull out equity to buy an investment property. Now y'all got two houses, you know. So it all starts with you at the end of the day, because you can only do what you allow yourself mentally to be able to have the capacity for. You know, like the limit literally starts where you start.
Yeah.
So if you buy a house now, that's okay, great. You know, then you meet the woman, great. But like these women are out here,
Yeah.
they out here buying
Into it,
houses
yeah.
and two houses. You know, so it's like it comes to the point where we gotta like really, really sit down, like as not just like as black men, but as men in general.
Right.
Like we need to get some things in order and not be living in mom's basement
Right.
or living with old girl on her couch, and when she get mad, I'm sleeping on the couch, or she
Man.
telling me I gotta get out. I've been there before too, you
Right.
know. to the point where it's like we get into an argument. Okay, where am I gonna go? All right, I'm gonna go back to my parents' house.
Got to stop scrambling so much. Yeah.
And then the narrative changed when I bought a house, literally. So it's like, okay, like you think you're gonna get a key? No, you're not gonna get a
Call
key.
your own shots.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Or even I haven't gotten to the bought a house yet, but the narrative changed immediately when you do something about the predicament that you in. Like
right.
and a lot of it, like we keep saying, start with your relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we get it. Like you said, the degenerative programming, all these other stuff, the conditioning, it come from a long time ago, and it's in you.
Yeah.
But you have to be, if you really want to get to that new ground, you have to be diligent about digging into your soil and getting the right, you got to till the ground and get to bear the right fruit. You can't just put seeds down and neglect it, and if you know it's poison in there, go and get it out.
Right, you can't keep being mad about the poison.
Yes,
it's like, damn, do something about the poison.
Or
like,
get
get
help.
away from it. Get rid of it.
But a lot of people are addicted to that mindset.
Ooh,
that's
yes,
some real shit.
there we go.
A lot of people are addicted to that
Preach.
mindset. Like, it could be somebody where it's not as bad as you think it is, but they'll make it worse than what it is. And I try to stay away from people like that.
Man,
just because like they find a way to complain about everything, like everything. I have clients like that, and it's like we about to close in a week. What are you talking about?
Why are you angry? You did.
Talking about like I think I'm just gonna rent. Like what? Like where does it even make sense? We about to close next week. Like, and a lot of people don't know this, or they do know this, but buying a house is probably one of the biggest purchases that you will ever make in life.
Yeah.
They say it's 3 things that you don't buy cheap. Your mortgage, your wife's wedding ring, and a parachute. 3 things that you should never buy cheap.
Definitely.
Man.
A parachute, right?
Facts. You don't want the bad one.
Like that's 3 things that you should never buy cheap. But like buying a house is like probably one of the biggest purchases that some people ever make in life, next to student loans.
Right.
That you're not even gonna use. Like, they gonna have to come for that money. Like they forbearance for the rest of my life.
Right.
But that's also another process that people don't. We got to wrap up soon. But that's another process that people don't know much about when it comes to like to you was giving so much game, like as far as like credit go, and paying off your student loans, even starting the payments be low. They could be like $20, $40 a month. You got
plan,
that.
Yeah.
Pay it. Like, so these are things that you can do right now if you're thinking about buying a house. Before you even call somebody and irritate them, think about what you can do. Can you give us some more things that people can start doing right now before they even call you? And be like, look, Renard, I did all this that you said on Midnight Coffee.
Let's see. Things that they can start doing now. I'll tell you things that you shouldn't start doing. You shouldn't start shopping for a house before you know what your approval amount is. That's one thing you shouldn't do. It's cool to look and see what you wanted, like what you want in the house, but most people fall in love with the house before they fall in love with their approval, and they upset every single time. So I say that triggers that whole mindset thing, because it's like, I can't get
not
this.
Even what I want.
I can't get this. I'm not just going to get anything, Another thing that I would say that people could start doing when they're looking to buy houses, it makes it easier when you start getting your documents together earlier on. Say like, pay stubs, bank statements, stuff like that, getting that stuff together because you know that you're about to go in the process.
Right.
That makes it easier for me, having all those documents together, 2 pay stubs within 30 days, 2 months bank statements, 2 years tax returns. I would say one thing that a lot of people do around tax time is they want that max refund, and it hurt them in the long run.
Damn, really?
Yeah, because when you write off things on your taxes, you basically writing off your income. So you're saying that you didn't make as much.
Right.
So when you don't make as much, you kind of like kill your buying power in a sense.
Yeah.
I would say a year before, like if you're looking to purchase next year, obviously try not to get that max refund this year.
Right.
One of my favorite sayings is don't quit your job before you buy a house, because obviously when you quit your job or start a new job, it kind of make things a little bit more harder.
Right.
Only time it gets starting over is when you go from a W-2 job to self-employment.
Right.
Because you have to be self-employed for 2 years. So that means that if you quit your job today, you're not going to be able to buy a house for 2 years. But if you buy the house now, you can figure all that other stuff out.
Right.
You know, you can figure all that other stuff out. Some things that people can do before they buy a home, other than working on your credit and saving. Like I said before, it's easy. It's so easy that it's really not that much that you have to do. Like if you saving money, putting away money, getting a bonus, put the bonus away, put your tax return away to buy a home, things like that. It's really not much you can do. Like once you meet the credit requirements, everything else fall in line.
Right.
Like minimizing your debt. I would say that's one thing that you can start doing, minimizing your debt. If you have things in collections, settle them, get them off your credit. Because things that are in collections, we take 0.5% of the balance owed. So if you got like $1,000 collection and we take 5% of the overall balance and qualify it as a payment, that usually kill people too. Get your student loans on a payment plan that's out of forbearance. I would say like 30 to 60 days before you look into buying a house, just because obviously the same thing. We take 0.5% of the overall balance, and when you're talking about a student loan, it's probably like $50,000, $100,000. That's a lot of money over a month. That usually kills your debt to income ratio. Really, just I would say credit and saving is really all that you really need to like have in line before you buy a house. And credit don't even have to be like perfect. It could be like 600. It could be like 620, 650. Right. It's not hard at all. Not hard at all.
Do you have any business credit tips? I know I just recently got like my business registered and I'm working up, because it's a bit of an intimidation when you're doing something you never done before. So I'm working up like bit by bit of this courage to really put this together. Any advice you could give me as far as leveraging business and business credit in order to get this homeowner insurance process started?
On how to build the business credit?
Or how to let's go with how to start it, and then once it's started, how to use it, or what does the process look like in using it for homeownership?
To build business credit, obviously you want to register your business, get the EIN number, then go to nav.com. And they have like business trade lines that you can have on there to like build your business up. Then start applying for trade lines. Go to Home Depot. Sam's Club is a good one for their Synchrony Bank credit card. Make sure you're paying everything on time. Open up your business bank account. Build a relationship with the bank. And from there, like it really only takes 90 days to get like a good business credit.
Okay.
To get business credit, like 90 days, maybe 120 if you slow on things.
Right.
But realistically, you could probably leverage business credit to buy a house cash, to be honest, like not even getting a mortgage. Because when you think about it, you can, because there's a lot of influencers that go around saying you can go get a $50,000 no-lock loan from 4 different banks. Right. That's $200,000. That's true. Yeah. That is possible. You can do that, and then set it up to where you can do a bank statement loan to where they looking not necessarily on what you bringing in month over month, you know, but they're looking at it like overall picture. Like, okay, he's got made $100,000 transactions in his bank account.
Right.
It's so many different ways that you can leverage credit. As far as like business too, like gas card. I had a BP gas card, like $9,000 credit, and I didn't have any credit at all when I first started that. But business credit is a lot easier to build than personal credit.
It's starting from zero.
Yeah.
Okay. Good information.
Appreciate
I'm
you.
I'm very excited.
I wish we had a whiteboard.
I know, right?
You can write out everything. Right.
Speaking of that though, do you have like anything that you teach as far as like, you know, people be online teaching stuff and like an ebook or anything like that? You got thinking about any of that?
I haven't gotten into that realm yet. I want to.
Yeah.
I want to. I feel like I'm really good at influence and persuasion.
Right.
I feel like I've built my name and my brand off of being able to influence people.
Yeah.
And once you figure out what people want,
It's easy to give it to them
it's
right away.
easy
Yeah.
to pull that
Yeah.
out of them and
Yeah.
make them want to do what you need them to do. Because sometimes you have to give to get,
Right.
but sometimes you don't even have to give. You
Yeah.
can just get,
Yeah.
you know, if you know what you're working with and what people want and things like that,
Yeah.
You gotta make
you
an
can
offer.
play it to that. But no, I really, I don't teach anything. I have a couple people who I mentor who
Okay.
are also bankers for different companies and things like that. Basically just mindset.
Yeah.
Mindset. Because you can overlook things if your mindset ain't right.
Yeah.
You know, like small things. Like I play golf, right?
Mhm.
Golf is one of my favorite things to do. And my dad used to tell me as a kid, you know, like you have like the fairway, you know, where it's like the grass is cut low, and then you have the rough where grass is higher.
Right.
And we would go, and my dad would always find like 40 golf balls. And I'm like, how? I was in the same area. How did you
Right.
find that? He said, walk slower.
Mm.
You know, like
Damn.
walk slower. You know, and I feel like when you like got so much going on, you could overlook a lot of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
A lot of things, and I feel like that's something you could tie into purchasing as well.
Right.
Like people have a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize, and I'll say that a lot, but I don't how can I say this? I work for people. People
Right.
don't work for me.
Right.
Like that's half the battle. Like when people think about, oh, I wanna buy a house, but I wanna look for it on my own. Why? Why? It's realtors who get paid by the seller
Yeah.
to help you find a house.
Right.
So that means it's free to you, and they're experts, right? Like when it comes at the end of the day, like, you know, I work for clients. You tell me what you want, I'm gonna
Right.
paint the picture.
Right.
And you know, like it's easy to get passionate about it because it's like so much that you don't know. It's like a rabbit hole. Like
Yeah.
like going to a rabbit hole, like you think that's something. Wait until you get into processing. We talk about
exactly,
this, you know? And it's so much to talk about. I feel like it's so much to talk about when it comes to like mortgages, real estate, generational wealth. It's hard to even trap that into one episode.
Yeah, you can't.
It
You
is.
can't. It's your
Yeah.
entire life. You will never stop talking about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, because you got people that do a lot of different things. You got
Yeah.
people that day trade.
So
you
you're
got
gonna come
people
back.
that
That's what you're saying.
yeah, we can talk about a lot of different things. We talk about fix it flips on the next one, like how to
Okay.
break into buying a house from land bank and flipping it. Like it's sweet because most people think, you know, when they buy a house, you fix it up and flip it, you gotta use your own money. It's lenders out here that do
hard money. Yeah, I
100%
heard about that.
financing.
That's crazy.
And you can do that shit without
100%
money out your
financing. Like my
pocket.
older brother was telling me how to go about doing it, and you could basically middleman deals to where you could walk
Yeah.
away 20 grand, 30 grand, and not even spend no money.
What do they call it? Like wholesaling or something like that?
Wholesaling.
Yeah.
I went
Wholesaling.
to a seminar
I've been
about
to
it.
so many.
About this. That's
Yeah.
where I feel like this, and that was years ago. So it's
Yeah.
like it's been like breadcrumbs of like information that I've been
Right.
getting. It's just like,
Right.
bleh.
And they have to do it that way because you can't know the whole game in one sitting.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it is a lot.
So you got to sprinkle it
Yeah.
over time. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna put what he said, she said, he said,
Mhm.
and then okay, now I know how to do it because everybody not gonna give you the full game. Like, and
Right.
my brother is like super sweet when it comes to like things outside of mortgages, like foreclosures, wholesaling,
Right.
stuff like that. He won't even tell me the whole game, you know. So it's like, you know, like everybody have their own little tips and tricks. Like I
Right.
have my own little tips and tricks when it comes to like building people credit scores to the point where they have to come to me that my competitors don't know.
Right,
You know? So
right.
it's like I have to keep something to myself to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. That's how the cookie crumbles. That's what they say.
Yeah,
Who
way to
said
go.
that? It was Jim Carrey that said that's how the
Yeah,
cookie
and
crumbles. Ain't-
Evan Almighty.
Yeah.
No, yeah, Evan Almighty.
I think that's what it was. I was thinking Anchorman, but that's not Jim Carrey.
Nah, Will Ferrell, wasn't it? I like
Yeah.
that Jim your dad dropped though. Just walk slower.
Walk slower.
Because I think when I
Yeah.
think that, I think of like even just life in general. It's like just breathe. Take a moment to breathe.
Yep.
Relax.
Yep.
Like, and that it gives you everything.
Most people think that meditating is like this whole ordeal, right? Somebody told me before is you meditate every time you take a deep breath.
Literally.
Yes.
Literally.
I was like, wow.
You don't gotta listen to no music.
That's
Wow.
where the alarms remind, just remind
You don't gotta
to
close your
breathe.
Just a
eyes.
deep breath.
Yeah, exactly.
5 minutes a day.
Yeah.
It said, and I was watching something. They were saying like, if you do something for 18 minutes a day over a year, you will be ahead of 95% of the people that's in that field.
It's crazy.
18 minutes a day.
That's crazy.
That's an episode,
That's
a
great.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air episode
Right,
with no
literally,
commercials.
Literally.
You know.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it's a lot of things around us that we just don't know, and like I said before, like the whole just walk slow thing, just pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like my dad used to, like a whole bunch of stuff. My dad used to say, when you go get a rental car, you know, like go to the gas station, fill the tank up. Like
Right.
everything that you touch should be better after you left
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Everything that you touch.
Facts.
You know, and that's how you change people's lives.
Yeah.
You know, like everything
your
that
own
you
life.
touch,
Yeah, I was
right?
About to say, and your own.
It
for
makes you
sure.
Better than when you left
intentional,
it.
too, because a lot of people are reactionary to life and they live it as if it's something that's happening to them.
Not for
so
them.
they
yeah.
running like your dad described, and not getting there fast enough. I feel like is the source of a lot of people's regret and frustration and confusion, is because they've been running for a long time and ain't got nowhere.
The rat race.
That and I think a lot of people's frustrations come from thinking something's supposed to look a certain
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, just because it looks like that to
The wrong
someone else.
picture in your
Yeah.
head.
Right.
Yeah.
Or life
right.
in general.
Yeah.
Life in general is supposed to be a certain way.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I'm old and I deserve
Yeah.
and these
The
that's
entitlement,
also
like
a
you said
limited
earlier.
belief.
Yeah.
People think it's not, because they like, oh, I'm going after everything I deserve. You don't deserve shit. Like, and you really don't. We do earn everything.
Right.
It don't always look the same for everybody, but there is a earning process to
And-
life.
I think that's partially the thing on like social media.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like people making it seem too easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
or like like just coming up with this idea that it has to look a certain way, because you
Yeah.
can miss out on a lot of things thinking it's supposed to look like what
Yeah.
Sherry
Right.
got
Yeah.
or what James got.
Literally.
You know, that you kind of mess up your own little blessing. You know,
Right.
Right.
so like I encourage people to be open.
Mhm.
You know, just not necessarily worry about how it's gonna happen. Just know that it's gonna happen some way. You
Right.
know, like it was days
Right.
where I would wake up in the morning, go to work early before everybody else, and say, "I'm gonna write 7 loans today," and not know where they coming from. You know, like I don't care how they coming, they gonna come.
Yeah.
And then throughout the day, I get one person who owns 4 properties that want to refinance. You know, they go 4 right there. Okay, now I just need to find 3 more people who are looking to buy.
Right.
Boom. Okay, 3 more contracts in my email. That's 7 loans. Like I feel like when we get away from thinking something's supposed to look how it's supposed to look, we get a lot more
Yeah.
in return.
Yeah.
A lot more in return, just because we get so frustrated that we shut off everything positive
Yeah.
coming to us.
Yeah.
You know, like it's okay to walk away. Like I told somebody the other day, like when I'm like stressed out, I give myself a certain amount of time to cry about it, to feel some type of way about it.
Let the tears.
'Cause
water
at the end of the
crown
day,
your phone.
It has to get done regardless.
Yeah, yeah.
It has to get done regardless. I could cry about it and delay it a week,
Right.
or I could like just give myself 30 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna feel some type of way about it, and I'm gonna get it done.
Come back to it. Yeah.
Get it done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of people feel that victim mentality, just because people are either raised of 2 ways, and I say this a lot. You either raised off of love or you raised off of survival.
Yeah.
Some people get both,
Yeah.
you know.
My
But
mom
like
asked
you,
me.
literally, it's you. I try to figure out solutions quickly as possible, because I don't want to dwell and be in my feelings and
Right.
all of this stuff.
People spend years in their feelings, and people don't know. Now we getting into the health part of the generational wealth, right? Because it's a part of it. But what I learned is that your body, and that's why I say like, oh, it's trapped in our DNA, because it is. As we reproduce, we pass along the trauma in our
Right,
nerves,
right.
our nervous systems to our children, which not only makes them like possess the energy to draw certain experiences, but it also increases the likelihood that they respond the exact same way that you did, which is why we gotta just stop responding to shit. But in the process, and all of this is what I'm hearing is that the key to generational wealth is unlocking yourself and really stepping into what is possible for you. in your family, and the ways that we sabotage ourselves in getting there. Like, you really have to be reflective and ask the why about your intentions, and okay, why did I just do that, or what is my goal with these actions or with these. But our bodies, it's like a muscle memory thing. And when whatever you experiencing, the strongest thing is your body wakes up the next day is in an autopilot with the very strongest emotion you felt the next day. This is why we got to center ourselves and breathe and find that oneness and stuff, really separate and bring our bodies into the moment. Because right now you're not scared. Right now you just woke up, you're going to get some coffee or whatever. Mm-hmm. But your body don't know that because it's in a muscle memory autopilot situation. So giving yourself time to process, things as it comes, and being graceful with yourself is a part of the process to generational wealth.
Right.
Experience is how you break generational curses. Experience, because you only can go as far as your mind.
Yeah.
Really, So like, I feel like I was a better salesman when I was a better mortgage banker when I bought a house, because I knew what that experience is like.
To get out there and play the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like, like you could be from a family of generations who never been out of the country.
Yeah.
Right. And you were able to go and do that and experience that. You could bring that back.
Now everybody want to do it.
Now everybody want to go out of town. Our family reunion, our family reunion can be in Cancun next year. Like, that's how you break generational curses. It's experience. Yeah. Experience.
All it takes is one, too. That's the deepest part about it. All it takes is one.
That's it. Just one good day. Mm-hmm. One good day can change your entire month.
Yeah.
And sometimes we get to the point where we have 10 bad days in a row. We don't know that the 11th day is going to be that day that just click. Mm-hmm. Everything's going to click. That's what they used to say when I worked at Quicken. They used to say, one day everything is just going to click. Mm-hmm. That's literally how they started. One day everything is just going to click. Just keep going. And literally, like, you would get to that point where everything just started making sense. Everything just started clicking, and things that were hard last week are easier this week.
That's real.
Real. That's just how life goes. They say we are spirits living a human experience.
Pretty much.
So you just have to make the best of what you got every day. Mm-hmm. Every day. Like, my life, I would say, changed when I started waking up at 4:00 in the morning. Just because, like, I have 5 hours.
My mom was just like, no.
Yeah, but no, look, when you think about it, you have everybody's waking up at 8, 9 o'clock. I got a 4 or 5 hour start before everybody else. By the time that they getting coffee, I'm like, okay, like, I'm getting my second win.
Yeah.
Yeah. It all just comes down to, like, what you're willing to sacrifice at the end of the day. And if you smart, you don't have to sacrifice a lot, but just enough to get where you need to go.
Yeah, and I think that comes back to bringing it full circle about generational wealth. It's like you said, it's what you're willing to sacrifice.
Yep.
That's real.
That's it. That's it. Because what you giving up today may seem like a lot, but 10 years from now, you're like, wow, that was nothing.
That was nothing.
Mm-hmm. That was nothing. Like, it like, I can't even remember the last time where I went up against something that I felt like it just shook me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because that was only a phase. Like,
a moment.
Like, you go to the gym, you lifting 20 pounds all week. When you go up to 50 pounds, like, you're like, wow, I don't even remember what 20 pounds feel like. Like, you just got to keep going. At the end of the day, you just got to keep going.
That's real.
And that's how generational wealth is started, my friends.
Well, thank you very much, Renard, for being here and for sharing. I'm excited for when you come back. I want to be able to, like I said, crack down certain topics and subjects that I feel like we all like talk about and think about, and it keep us up at night. But like you said, it only take one person, and it don't have to be your family member.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You could have a friend that's be like, girl, let's go out of town. And now you can bring that back to your kids, your neighborhood, and show everybody, because especially in the age of social media, everybody is paying attention. We might as well be standing outside. We literally are in glass houses now, which just makes the whole throwing stones thing completely retarded. We literally in glass houses. Yeah. So be an example in that glass house. It is radical. it is radical to take care of your family,
Right.
even if it's just your family.
Yeah.
You are being a influential and positive part of the neighborhood, of the and your community going forward in the future for generations that are not even your family, just by investing in generational wealth. And everything that's worth investing in requires a sacrifice of some sort, and for most of us that sacrifice is parts of ourselves that are not serving us.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Renard, for bringing that all together.
Thank you for
got
having
any
me.
Closing statements?
No,
Eric?
that was a dope conversation. That's all.
Yes.
You guys
yes,
should do
very
a
grateful.
episode on just mindset and manifestation.
Yeah.
That's what you should do, because I feel like that's a big part on, like you say, Monopoly. Monopoly is my favorite game, by the way.
I figured.
But like, you know, like I would say, like, mindset manifestation definitely helps you get to where you need to go, because
Right.
sometimes, like, it'd be so much stuff going on, and I can only imagine what other people go about.
Yeah.
But I don't ask for easier problems, you know, like I don't ask for like easier problems, stuff like that. I ask for harder problems,
Yeah.
because I know that you can't grow just doing
Right.
math.
Yeah.
You can't
Period.
grow just doing the addition. You got to
Yeah.
do subtraction, division, multiplication, all that. You know, you can only get so good doing one thing.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I say you all should do a mindset manifestation podcast, because I feel like that'd be a good one for people.
For sure.
Okay,
For
cool.
sure.
Thanks for the suggestion.
Yeah.
I keep saying thank you, but I really can't thank you enough. You did more than drop gems. You are a gem. Thank you, not just for
Appreciate
your
that.
presence on this show, but for everything that you're doing and your very righteous intention with what you do. And I pray that you get as much help as you need to continue this process and be as, you know, necessary.
Yeah.
You're necessary. We need you.
It'll
So,
get there.
Yeah.
It'll get there. Nothing I can't do.
Nothing you
Nothing I
can't do.
can't
This has been the first generational wealth episode of Midnight Coffee. We will definitely have more generational wealth episodes. See you later.
Peace.
See you later.
Man.